Hello, this is Grant Hughes of Grant Hughes Investigates on YouTube. In today's video, we're going to discuss three different elements that we discussed on my live stream last night, but a lot of people can't digest 3 hours plus of a show where we're working through things, etc. So we're going to go through those right now. Now, first of all, there's two different surveillance shots over here at the Rhode Island Historical Society building. One from the camera that's being used right now, and then there's another camera on the other side of that shed. And if we look at the Rhode Island Historical Society from Street View, that's the shed right there that we were just looking at from behind. And I've shown this before. There's the camera on the shed, and then way back there is the camera view that we are getting when we look at this shot right here. Now there's another camera on the front of that shed, and that camera is what filmed suspect number 2. So let's go ahead and find that. We do have a version of that somewhere in here. Let's see. Right there. So here it is from the shed itself, and there's the same brick pathway. Now the suspect number 2 actually walks into here, and here's what that looks like. Now what I did was I took the image and I overlaid it, the image that was released by law enforcement yesterday, and I overlaid it there, and you'll see if I click it on and off. Let me turn both of them off, and then when I go on and off, you can see how I try to do as best as I could, and you can see that the foliage and everything lines up pretty well right there, the tree in the background, etc. And then there's also this one. That one was a little harder to do, but what we can see by looking at this is that he's walking. That's his left foot planted there, and then he turns and goes in that direction. So I don't know what time frame that is. That would be very important and helpful. Now the reason you can see his foot up there is I just had to grab a still frame from this video right here. Now this camera right here, I think filmed a whole bunch of different things. Like for example, when suspect number 2 runs after him, he walks by right here. So we should be able to see him walking by and then walk this direction. We won't see him running, of course, because he starts running after he gets to the corner. And the corner is down here. So once he gets to this area right here, he then sees suspect number 1 down there and runs after him. Now Fox News, they're finally mentioning that the individual was running. But you know what they said today was that the same individual ran the second time too. They didn't say that it was the suspect number 2 that was running after him. So I don't know why they're not reporting things correctly. It's just they don't take the time that some of the rest of us do. All right, so let's go back out to here. And if you remember, this is the footage of him, the suspect number 2 walking by the camera. And then you see him over there, that's suspect number 1. And you see him on the screen at the same time. All right, so in this shot right here, we just scrub it forward. As I just mentioned, you can see both people at the same time. So that should have been a clue that they're different people. Okay. The suspect number 1 is in the green circle up there. I guess it's turquoise. And then to the right is suspect number 2. He seems to be a taller person. And some people think that might be a woman. I mean, it'd be sort of interesting if this was somebody that was out there trying to keep him from doing what he was doing, but could never catch up to him. And then he's hiding from that person. Like, oh, whoa, oh, whoa. But it seems like they were looking out for that person. It's really kind of interesting. And then right over here, we see suspect number 1 running after seeing suspect number 2. And then this is one of the newer pieces of information. Somebody sent this to me. See right there, you can see his feet disappear. That's because it stopped recording. So what law enforcement did was and if we go back one frame, see how it's 2:16 and 28 seconds, and then you move it forward one frame and it's 2:16:36. So what they did was, during the 7.5 to 8 seconds where the footage stopped, they took the 2:16:36 when the video started moving again and used that as a still frame to fill in that time. All right, so we see right there. Let's go back one frame. There are his legs. I mean, we can go back a little bit more. There you see his legs coming into this the scene there. And then right there, it's not. Now, at the same moment in time, there's this vehicle right there. So if we go back one space, it's not there. And then 8 seconds later, this is the still frame. It does not move for about 7.5 to 8 seconds. And then look right there. Let's go back again. This is 8 seconds prior. That's the same moment in time when the video stopped. There is this darkness right there. And that turns out to be suspect number 1 through the bushes. And so if you can actually move it forward. Right now there's 8 seconds. So notice how it just stays right there. And we'll go right up to here where the car moves. This is how we can do this. So I'll just keep it moving forward here. As soon as the car moves, we'll know to go back to that dark spot because that's live footage again. This is just a still frame. That car was moving. All right, and right there. So this frame is the end of the still frame, and then right there. So let's go down to that area right here, and I'm going to move it forward. Watch. See, that is suspect number 1 that you can see through the bushes there. Now, I don't know if he's over the fence or what's going on in that picture. It's sort of interesting. It might just be, you know, you can see it curves a little bit, so it kind of comes around like that. But it seems like some of the darkness there overlaps and almost like they're over the fence. I don't know. It's hard to tell, but they're definitely, whatever that is, that person right there is moving. And then if we go up here, we'll see right around that same time. So if that's suspect number 1, he slowed down quite a bit and just sort of stopped along that fence line. And then look right up here. This is suspect number 2 walking and looks down there, and then right around this time frame he starts running. And let's just move it so you can see the whole thing. And that person's gone. See how you can see the lightness in there again? Let's go back just a little bit so you can see it. And right there. See, then that person continues moving. And then we come around up here. And that was suspect 1. And then here's suspect number 2. And right around in this time frame, he starts running. See that? Boom. And they didn't continue the run enough where we could see if it affected that area the same. So there he is running up to on the top of the screen there. And it would have been great if they just kept him running just long enough, but they don't do it. Wow, it's like, you know, like 1 second before where we'd see the same change there. And be able to determine whether or not that person is inside the fence line. I mean, it's interesting how it seems to be like this portion. These cameras do curve, you know, the lenses a little bit, but that seems almost like it's inside the fence. I guess we'll have to figure that out at some point. But to me, it seems like it's through the fence. And this here does look a little bit like that. So I think that's behind the fence and the person is running back there. And the next thing I wanted to show you was in the footage. Yesterday they released this image, which is the same person as this person. Now, different cameras have different settings and colorization is different. The white balance is different on different cameras. So this one has a more blue look to it. And that's also because they brightened it up quite a bit. I mean, here's another shot where it's not quite as brightened up, but it's blue. Definitely the same person, though. You can see they have the same underneath hat. They've got this brown thing going around. They've got a pack here. In this one, it looks more gray. This one, whiter. Because in this one, they enhanced it and brightened up the image quite a bit. And it does look like it might be more of a white color. But you see the individual. Now, a lot of people think this might be a female. And I guess we don't know if it is or isn't. It seems like a pretty tall person. There are tall females out there, obviously. In this one, they seem to be carrying the same bottle that they had been carrying in this image. This one looks more like a can just because of the angle, I think. And it's also possible it is a can. They just switched what they were drinking, but it's absolutely the same person. And then I was able to find, just based on the cement here, exactly where this was. So let's show you where that is. I'm going to go up in the air on Google Earth. And I looked all around the city because I could tell it was a wide sidewalk. So it was something like this. See how it has two different slabs on each side? And it took me about an hour or so. And then eventually I stumbled upon this area right here. And I just happened to be going down the other side of the street like this. And I could see that there were these portions where there's these squares. See those squares? Those are what I recognized in this image. However, it doesn't match. See this area right there? That's when the sidewalk slopes to the street, which is similar to, let me back up a little bit, like right there, right? But there's no square right in that area where you would think, because if you look at that, you see that, and there should be one of those squares right inside there. There's one there. So I just randomly turned around like this, and then I looked right there, and that's exactly what we're looking at. This is the spot right here where they are walking. And see, there's two squares, and look, it even has a little orange arrow right there, which is right here. That's this one, that portion of the arrow. And then there's also this square, which is this one back here. Now, a thing that really makes it obvious is, look right here, these three dots. Straight off of the foot. 1, 2, and this one's slightly back. Well, look right there. 1, 2. I can't zoom in anymore. Or I guess I can zoom in a little bit. There it is. So 1, 2, and that one's slightly back. So that means he's standing, or he or she is standing right there in that little corner piece right there. All right. So we know that the suspect number 2 made it all the way over to there. And if you compare that with campus, the suspect number 1, when he left, went like this. They were clear down here when he was running after the suspect, and then made his way up this direction and obviously started heading out like that. Now, were they going to a class? Something like that? We don't know. But law enforcement definitely needs to talk to that individual, because that person seemed to be running after suspect number 1, which the media continually keeps refusing to report on. It's crazy. All right. So I hope this was valuable information for you. Let me know in the comments what you think. What do you think's going on? What's your theory of why they're chasing each other? It does sort of make sense if maybe somebody knew that this guy was radical and was following him and trying to keep him from doing what he was doing. But, you know, I don't know. I mean, it also makes a hell of a lot of sense that that person is complicit and handed something to suspect number 1. We just don't know at this point what the association is. However, they almost certainly are associated. Wouldn't you agree? All right, leave a comment in the comment section. Let me know. Hit that like button, share the video, and subscribe to my channel. And I'll continue to be covering this case. And, oh, by the way, don't let the conspiracy theorists win the day. Let's keep looking at this case using logic, reason, and common sense. There might be a conspiracy cover-up by the council, you know, the city council, the mayor, etc., because they don't want people to see what happened for political reasons, etc. But the case itself, let's look at with using logic, reason, and common sense. Again, thank you very much for watching, and as I always say, until next time, be safe out there.